So, Bratz first came into our world in 2001, where their style and sass was a smash hit with kids all around the world. By the year 2005, they'd sold over $2 billion worth of dolls. And naturally, with all that success in the toy industry, it's no surprise a show would follow. Yeah, we are covering the Bratz TV show. So grab a snack, get ready for a heavy dose of nostalgia. It's gonna be a fun one. First, let's do some context. The series centers around the four main Bratz girls, Chloe, Yasmin, Jade, and Sasha, who run their own teen magazine at their school, Styles High in Stylesville. The girls get up to all kinds of crazy chaos. Will they win the war of popularity? Have they got what it takes to become fashion forward? And can they fight off their main rival, Burdine Maxwell, to become the best teen magazine in all of Stylesville? Well, we're gonna cover it all, from start to finish. And where better to start than episode 1, which is called Crush in a Rush, and begins with the girls sat at their favorite smoothie bar in Stylesville Mall, where Sasha is showing Chloe and Dylan, one of their school friends, her new shoes she got for Chloe's upcoming wildlife safari party. Ethan, another one of their friends who works at the smoothie bar, brings them their drinks over and asks where Yasmin is. Chloe tells them she's at the library stressing about a poem due on Monday, which is about as stressful as their life gets. She then asks Ethan about his date to the party, and he reveals that he thinks the girl he wants to ask won't want to go out with him. Dylan offers his advice, while Sasha and Chloe think this is a great chance for Ethan to write an article on how to get a girl to go out with you for their magazine. Sasha tries to find out who his crush is, but he's tight-lipped. Meanwhile, Casey and Kirsty, also known as the Tweevils, are eavesdropping on his conversation, and both assume themselves to be Ethan's crush. Basically, just a little bit of context here, the Tweevils are the nieces of the girl's arch-nemesis Burdine Maxwell, and they help run a rival magazine called Your Thing, with their main aim being to run the Bratz out of business. Back in the Your Thing office, Burdine overhears her twin nieces talking about the new Bratz article, and tells them to write the exact same article to be the girls to the punch. They consult a book, The Loser's Guide to Dating, Dining, and Dumping, and practice their flirting technique.
So how are we supposed to rate this article anyway?
Simple. We'll just copy everything from this book.
Meanwhile, Ethan announces his plans to ask out his crush, but Jade, Chloe, and Sasha decides he needs a makeover first. As Ethan is leaving, he bumps into Cameron and Dylan, who gives him some last-minute tips and fixes hair. Well, last-minute tips like giving him an ear mic so he can coach Ethan when he asks his crush out. Ethan goes to talk to Yasmin, revealing her to be his crush. While Ethan tries to ask her out, Dylan whispers his advice through the mic in his ear. But things don't go to plan, and he mishears the advice and ends up insulting Yasmin's outfit. Dylan then tries teaching Ethan how to swagger, when Chloe's parrots, which she ordered for her wildlife party, escape and pop some balloons. Using Dylan's new advice and his new confident walk, Ethan swaggers up to her, poses, and tries to impress her with his strength by lifting up a garbage can, but he ends up falling over. Pretty rubbish way to pick up a girl. Yasmin helps him up and giggles at his high-pitched voice when he says he's fine. He asks her to the party, but she reveals that she won't be able to go unless she gets her poem done in time. But if all goes well with her assignment, then she'll be there. The success of his advice now clearly going to his head, Dylan takes Ethan shopping to buy Yasmin some surprise bling. He ends up getting her a rose, then a bouquet of roses, followed by a whole cart of roses. But no bling? He returns and gives her his gifts, and to his relief, she likes roses. Leaving Yasmin to enjoy her flowers, Ethan and Dylan go to help Chloe, Sasha, and Jade as they set up for the party. They talk about Ethan's new crush. Dylan tries to give more advice. This guy sure likes giving advice, but Ethan tells him he's doing things his way from now on. So he seeks out Yasmin once again and starts singing, asking her to be his date to the party. Amazingly, his cringy charm seems to work magic on her, as she laughs and agrees. But behind the scenes, the Tweevils have been spying on them.
I'll go to the party with you.
You will?
Yes, but leave the ladies' room now.
They wait for Ethan to leave and go to Yasmin, telling her that he doesn't really like her. He's just using her to write an article for the Bratz magazine. This obviously upsets her, so she decides to confront her friends, asking why they would set her up to be hurt like that before running away. An unknowing Ethan finds Yasmin and asks when he should pick her up for the party. But as you'd expect, she's not too happy, and tells him she never wants to see or speak to him again. Meanwhile, the Tweevils turn their attention towards Cameron, who runs away from their attempts at flirting. After all, they're still trying to write an article. Ethan storms to the Bratz magazine office and tells Yasmin that her friends didn't know he was writing an article about her. He tells her he's liked her since she walked into a smoothie bar the summer before when he corrected her spelling of pomegranate. Yasmin understands and asks him if they can just forget about everything that's happened and if he'll help her finish her poem. But more bad news is around the corner. as a rainstorm destroys Chloe's party. They move the supplies to the Bratz magazine office, where they also make up with Yasmin, and Chloe's wildlife safari party is a smash hit. The Tweevils try to gate crash, but end up getting chased out by the evil parrots, all while Ethan and Yasmin hold hands and dance. The second episode kicks off with Jade, Sasha, and Yasmin perfecting their cheerleading routine for the Style Tigers tryouts. Chloe rushed in a bit late and drops a bombshell. If she doesn't maintain a B average, her parents will make her quit her gig at Bratz magazine. The girls quickly hatch a plan to secure Chloe an easy A by enrolling her in a fashion and design class. Meanwhile, Berdine is seething after discovering that sales of Your Thing magazine have plummeted by 20%, now trailing behind Bratz. To add to her woes, she gets a call from Dr. Rajaman, the vet for her cat, Royal, informing her that Royal is 14 ounces overweight and battling fleas. At school, the girls bump into Dylan, who's rocking a new bright orange hairdo. He's on a mission to be voted most attractive guy in the school yearbook, banking on the idea that last year's redhead winner might give him an edge. He's gone red to boost his chances.
What are you doing?
Campaigning.
For what? The class orange?
Unluckily for the girls, Berdine catches wind of their plan to take the fashion and design class and decides to throw a wrench in their plans by signing up as the teacher. The class is packed, not just with the Bratz pack, but also with Casey, Christy, Ethan, and Cameron. At the close of the session, everyone is assigned essay topics to tackle. Sasha's assignment is all about how pink is the new black, while Jade tackles fuchsia, fun on the brink of pink, and Yasmin dives into everything but the kitchen pink. Chloe, on the other hand, gets a tougher topic: the impact of 19th century labor unions on American textile exporters of pink fabrics, with a 1-week deadline to complete it. Ethan and Cameron are given the topic 30 years of pink fashion at Styles High. Meanwhile, Berdine sets the Tweevils on a mission to help her overweight cat Royal shed some pounds. As Chloe juggles her essay and her Dear Chloe advice column, Sasha reassures her that she's got this. In a bid to boost his chances in the Most Attractive Guy contest, Dylan, inspired by a previous winner who had a tattoo, convinces Yasmin to draw a fake tattoo on him. During a mishap, Dylan bumps into Casey and Christy while they're training Royal and accidentally drops the yearbooks he's been researching. Casey picks up an old yearbook and discovers that Berdine was once voted worst dressed, a fact that shocks everybody. When Berdine overhears Chloe distressed over her assignment, she harshly grades Chloe's essay with an F, sparking Chloe's fury. Adding to their challenges, Ethan and Cameron are tasked with writing a sonnet about pink, and the Bratz crew are given a tight 3-day deadline to organize a pink fashion show. After finding out that Royal had gained even more weight, Berdine fails Casey and Kirsty, giving them a new task to create a concealing outfit for Royal to hide his weight gain. Frustrated, the Tweevils decide to get back at Berdine by breaking into her safe to steal her embarrassing yearbook photo. Amid the stress of preparing for the fashion show, Chloe steps up to lead the charge. She assigns Jade to handle the clothing designs, Sasha to manage the music, and she teams up with Yasmin to take care of everything else. They also plan for the next issue of their magazine to feature a guide on how to put on a fashion show, and they dive into the preparations. Under the cover of night, Casey and Kirsty sneak into the school and plaster with copies of Berdine's yearbook photo. When Berdine discovers this, she immediately accuses the Bratz of the prank and threatens to have them expelled. You know, what's kind of sad is that I wouldn't be surprised if there were actually teachers like this out there in the real world. The Tweevils then dye Royal black to make him appear slimmer. Oh my goodness. I'm sure people have said this already about this show, but it gives off fat-phobic vibes, you know what I mean? Well, maybe it's just Berdine. I mean, she's the villain, after all. Anyway, this deeply enrages Berdine further. The truth about the photos comes out when Casey and Kirsty accidentally mention seeing the photos during the day, a time when Berdine had already removed them before classes started. Meanwhile, Ethan and Cameron present their sonnet This Is Not Your Mother's Pink in rap form, adding a vibrant touch to the fashion show where the Bratz and Dylan showcase pink outfits on the runway. Royal then sabotages Berdine by tossing a pile of her yearbook photos into a fan, scattering them throughout the crowd. Berdine, furious, blames the Tweevils and flunks them again. As for Dylan and the girls, well, Dylan was finally crowned Styles High's most attractive boy, and the girls all got straight A's. The episode Kidnapped kicks off with Dylan and Cameron zipping through the mall on their skates, where they coincidentally bump into the Bratz. The guys praise Yasmin for her latest articles, Models with Brains, and modeling school ripoffs. Right on cue, Yasmin gets a call from the agent of London Milton, a billionaire heiress who was impressed by Yasmin's take on models. While Chloe, Jade, Sasha, Dylan, and Cameron are thrilled, Yasmin is hesitant to interview someone she thinks is famous for no real reason. Bardeen, meanwhile, is livid when she learns that Bratz magazine has nabbed an interview with London. She orders Casey and Kirsty, the Tweevils, to tail Yasmin, locate London, and snatch the interview for Your Thing magazine, even lending them her car for the mission. Yasmin's frustration mounts when London is late showing up. When she finally arrives, a man suddenly grabs her and pulls her into a car. Yasmin attempts a rescue, but ends up getting kidnapped herself. Casey and Kirsty witness the abduction and chase after the car. The kidnapper, named Luke, takes Yasmin and London to a deserted building. Oh my god. To keep calm, London starts doing yoga, and together with Yasmin, they try to distract Luke by giving him a makeover. Unaware of Yasmin and London's plight, the rest of the Bratz call the police, only to be told to call back in 2 hours. Meanwhile, Sasha and Jade head to the restaurant to check on them, but find no sign of Yasmin or London. Jade discovers Yasmin's cell phone and some footprints on the street, signaling that something has gone terribly wrong. Chloe picks up bits of Bardeen's conversation with the police about her car's location. Realizing that the Tweevils followed Yasmin to snatch the interview, Sasha and Jade set off to track down Bardeen's car, confident that Yasmin and London can't be too far away. Meanwhile, London tries to calm Luke by teaching him a tree yoga pose. In a swift move, she uses her heiress kidnapping survival skills to take him down.
Oh, you should really check out yoga. Here, try the tree position.
Just as they attempt to escape, another kidnapper blocks their path and shoves Casey and Kirsty, who'd been trailing the Bratz, into the room with Yasmin and London. When Bardeen arrives at the scene of her crashed car before Sasha and Jade could get there, she shows little concern. Frustrated by her indifference, the girls leave, abandoning Bardeen by the roadside. Inside, Casey and Kirsty bombard London with questions. London firmly declines to do an interview for Your Thing, surprising the Tweevils with the revelation that she only receives a $50 weekly allowance. London explains that the parties, museums, and libraries she frequents are all free. She doesn't need much money to enjoy her lifestyle. Yasmin is taken aback to discover that London enjoys spending time in libraries. London shares her passion for reading, and the two quickly bond over their mutual love for mystery novels. Meanwhile, Chloe finds out from London's agent that both Yasmin and London have been kidnapped for ransom, with London's parents agreeing to pay a hefty $5 million to secure their release. Amidst the chaos, Luke grows increasingly irritated by Kirsty and Casey's non-stop chatter. In a hasty move, he uses London's neck scarf to tie them up. While rummaging through Casey's bag for some tape, Luke stumbles upon a copy of Bratz magazine, which disgusts Kirsty. As London and Yasmin continue to talk, they find more common ground. London reveals she's studying journalism in college and aspires to be a writer, much like Yasmin. She confides in Yasmin that many people misjudge her as superficial, which is why she was eager for Yasmin's interview, hoping it would showcase her depth beyond the stereotypes. The drama heightens when Jade and Sasha, reaching an abandoned part of town, discover more footprints and Yasmin's notebook outside an abandoned building. As the police finally arrive, Luke tries to escape with London, but she resists fiercely, managing to fend him off. Yasmin then reunites with her friends, and Luke, along with his accomplice, are taken into custody. Back at the Bratz magazine office, London shows the girls some kickboxing moves she mastered. Dylan and Cameron show up soon after, and Dylan begins flirting with London. When he calls her a delicate little flower, London responds with a powerful high kick, knocking him out cold. Safe to say that everyone enjoyed that. The episode's slumber party gets underway with Chloe and Cameron on a bike ride together. They have plans to study after, but Cameron ditches last minute to console Dylan, who's bummed out from being stood up by a girl. Upset by the sudden change, Chloe speeds off on her bike to the mall, where she vents to Sasha about Cameron's sudden cancellation. With Chloe's parents away for the weekend, Sasha sees the perfect opportunity to cheer her up. A sleepover! As they plan their night of fun, Casey and Kirsty, lurking nearby, overhear their plans. They quickly report back to Bardeen, who smells an opportunity to scoop some intel on the next issue of Bratz magazine. Eager for espionage, she equips them with pink pump spy shoes, quirky gadgets from her days at the International Fashion Police. So there's a fashion police? Don't tell them I exist. The sleepover kicks off with Sasha, who has done her homework to ensure the night is a blast, leading the girls in dance moves before diving into a game of Pictionary. The girls laugh as they struggle to recognize Chloe's surprisingly accurate drawing of Bardeen. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to them, the Tweevils have embarked on their spying mission. Casey tiptoes up to Chloe's bedroom window, arriving just as the girls start playing Pin the Bandage on Casey's nose. Now, a comical spin on the pin the tail on the donkey. The evening unfolds with laughs and secrets being shared, as most good sleepovers do, all under the watchful eyes of their unintended guests. To keep the fun going, the girls put on an impromptu runway show, donning cowboy hats and parading around in Chloe's costumes. Afterwards, they whip up some homemade pizza, embracing the joyous chaos of the night. Just as Sasha, Jade, and Chloe are about to head back upstairs, they freeze at the sound of creaky footsteps. Fearing the worst, they dive under the table for cover, only to discover it's Yasmin, who's come downstairs wearing an organic face mask. Casey, undeterred by her earlier mishap, tries to climb up to the window again. However, her plans are thwarted once more when Yasmin opens the window to let in some fresh air, knocking her back. Next up on the night's agenda is a seance. During the eerie silence, Kirsty climbs up to the window and whispers mysteriously, tricking the girls into thinking that they're hearing a ghost. The spooky whispers send them into a frenzy of screams, and Kirsty can't help but laugh at their reaction, right before she too loses her balance and falls from the window. In the midst of the confusion, Sasha questions who made the ghostly voice, but no one is admitting to it. Seizing the opportunity, Kirsty propels Casey towards Chloe's front door, which has been left ajar. They sneak inside, only to be swiftly kicked down the stairs by Chloe, who mistakes them for burglars. However, the Tweevils lie about just stopping by, and the girls agree to let them stay until Casey's nose stops bleeding. For the next sleepover game, the girls give themselves makeovers, because you can't have a good sleepover without a makeover. Casey and Kirsty want to gossip and tell the girls that Berdine washes her food 4 times in soda water before eating it to make sure it's not poisoned.
Yeah, and she shaves her feet. Yeah.
Colors her hair with a highlighter, shaves her feet, and eats baby birds. But that just kind of freaks the girls out. They hear another noise and think it's the boys pranking them. So they sneak downstairs and throw a blanket over Berdine, mistaking her for the boys. But as they're tackling the blanket, Cameron appears at the door, telling Chloe that Eaton took over on Dylan cheer up duty, that he had to come help her study. The blanket falls, revealing Berdine angrily dragging Casey and Kirsty from the house by their ears. Cameron offers to help Chloe study, but she tells him she's having a slumber party and postpones the study date. The girls playfully hit him with pillows when he offers to join them. I'm not trying to bash the show. This is a recap channel, not a review channel. I'm going to say this once, just for myself, and then I'm never going to say it again. Parts of this almost 20-year-old show have not aged well. So the next episode we'll be covering is a little further down the episode list, but it's actually a continuation from the slumber party, and it's called Truth or Dare. Back at Chloe's slumber party, the atmosphere amps up as the girls dive into a game of Truth or Dare. Sasha kicks things off, choosing truth. Yasmin seizes the chance to ask her about the most embarrassing moment she's ever had. Sasha sheepishly recalls a time she ripped her pants while dancing at school, drawing giggles from the group. When it's Yasmin's turn, she heaves at revealing how many boys she's kissed. Not letting her off easy, Jade dares her to head to the mall in her pajamas, find Eaton, and ask him for a kiss. Yasmin, flustered but daring, rushes to the mall. However, once there, her nerves get the best of her, and she ends up asking Eaton for a smoothie instead. Now Chloe's round stirs a little bit more intrigue. When Sasha throws a curveball asking Chloe which one person she'd save from a burning building, Chloe quickly sidesteps and asks for a dare instead. So she bravely steps outside and shouts that she's got a crush on Cameron. Little does she know, Casey and Kirsty are secretly listening and use Chloe's confession to sneak back into the slumber party. As the game rolls on, Sasha puts Kirsty in the hot seat, daring her to spill the meanest thing she's ever done to Casey. Kirsty confesses she once swapped her sister's shampoo for a hair remover, which led to an unexpected hair disaster. The group can't believe she'd do that to her own sister. When it's Casey's turn, her dare to eat out of a dog bowl, mimicking a dog, and slurping up raw eggs, which she does. The twins then ask the girls what the next issue of Bratz magazine is going to be about, but they refuse to answer, so they're each given a dare. Chloe's dared to do something adventurous with Casey. Yasmin is dared to drive Cameron's motorcycle. Sasha is dared to teach Kirsty to dance, and finally Jade is dared to get a picture of Berdine without her makeup.
Neato! Guys really like girls who can dance, so I'm gonna be like so popular.
Sasha begins Kirsty's dance lessons. Kirsty's a terrible dancer and ends up knocking a lamp and the lip couch over. As Casey has no rhythm at all, Sasha ends up teaching head, shoulders, knees, and toes, the only dance that she can master. Casey and Chloe head to rock and rock climbing adventures to take their beginner course. As they climb, they both panic about falling, getting stuck at the top, and being knocked off by an avalanche. Yasmin goes to Cameron's house to ask about if she can ride his motorbike, but he says no, even when presented with her list of 50 reasons why he should let her. Yasmin sits on the bike and accidentally starts the engine. Cameron pulls the key out just before Yasmin rides into a wall. Jade buys Lady Marbleface a makeup remover and gives it to Berdine, pretending it was wrongfully delivered to the Bratz office instead of your thing. She goes to the restroom and takes off her makeup, but rubs too hard and turns her skin red. Jade takes a photo, but the flash goes off and Berdine discovers it. She chases her out of the restroom, but Jade runs outside, bumps into Kirsty, and drops and breaks her camera. Chloe and Casey get stuck halfway up a rock and are saved by a rescue helicopter. The girls meet at Chloe's house and are joined by the twins who want to continue the game. The next episode we'll be covering is called Bratz in Playland. It's the first part of a trilogy known as the Land Trilogy. The episode opens with a heartfelt flashback, showing the moment Yasmin first met Sasha, Jade, and Chloe. They quickly bond and lovingly dub Yasmin Pretty Princess, inviting her to strut down their imaginary runway in a playful pretend fashion show. Fast forward to the present. The Bratz girls are flipping through old photo albums reminiscing about their years of friendship. Inspired by the memories, they decide to throw a party to celebrate their 15-year anniversary. Amid their party planning, Yasmin receives an unexpected call from Byron Powell. Byron is a huge media mogul who usually spends his day judging TV shows. He first appeared in the show in an earlier, less important episode called Survivor. And although he appears to be just a rich media man, there's something strange about Byron. On the phone with the girls, he sounds noticeably breathless and panicked, as he mentions being chased by thugs. After managing to fend them off, he sets up a meeting with Yasmin and the girls for the day after tomorrow, promising more details then. Meanwhile, at the Your Thing office, Berdine faces a crisis, as advertisers begin to withdraw their support swayed by the success of Bratz magazine. In a desperate bid to reclaim their edge, she instructs Casey and Kirsty to spy on the Bratz and pilfer their creative ideas. Back at the Bratz magazine office, Yasmin is grappling with a severe case of writer's block. She's anxious about not finishing her short story in time for an upcoming writing contest, feeling the pressure mount. Just then, Byron arrives at the office, bearing a large mysterious package that had been left outside. After setting it down, he switches gears to show the girls a presentation featuring various models, including Simone, the world's top supermodel. Byron then drops a bombshell, revealing that he's not only a TV judge, but also a government spy. He enlists the Bratz help, sharing a photo of Simone looking radiant and healthy at top fashion designer Jean Paul's preview show just 2 weeks prior. Byron then reveals a shocking new photo of Simone who looks like she's aged years in just a few weeks. He explains that Simone is actually the third model to suffer from a mysterious aging potion, likely aimed at sabotaging Jean Paul's career. As usual though, the Tweevils, Casey and Kirsty, are hiding in a box in the room spying on the Bratz. Byron lays out a plan for the Bratz: head to Paris and go undercover as runway models to sniff out the culprit. The girls are thrilled by the idea, but there's a catch. They have to pass Byron's test first, and only 2 of them can make the trip.
Apparently, an evil mastermind has concocted a bone-aging formula that severely cripples people overnight.
Meanwhile, Berdine isn't sitting back. She decides to send Casey and Kirsty to Paris as well, hoping they'll crack the case first and bring the spotlight back to her magazine. If they manage to outshine the Bratz and solve the mystery, she's sure it will skyrocket her magazine's sales. Back at Bratz magazine, the girls start prepping for Paris. Sasha mentions her connections there, Jade talks about her admiration for Jean Paul and his team. Yasmin thinks the trip could help her beat her writer's block, and Chloe points out her French skills. Amid the preparations, Yasmin shares a heartfelt concern, feeling like she's often left out of the group's adventures. This moment brings the friends closer, as they make sure everyone feels included and valued as they gear up for their Paris mission. It's always good to voice concerns like this. Don't be afraid to actually talk through issues with your friends. Then, in a flashback, we see Chloe, Jade, Yasmin, and Sasha in a spirited bike race, when suddenly Yasmin crashes, tripping over a doll that the Tweevils had sneakily placed as a trap. Despite her calls for help, her friends caught up in the race speed ahead. Ah, come on, we just had a great friendship moment. Fast forward to the present, the girls decide to set aside any arguments and commit to taking Byron's test, agreeing that they will support whoever he chooses to go to Paris. Both teams, the Bratz and Berdine's duo, undergo a series of challenges. Casey and Kirsty struggle, but the Bratz girls ace every test. The ultimate challenge comes down to a motorcycle race, but the race takes a back seat when Yasmin falls off her bike, just like in the flashback. Instead of abandoning her though, the girls abandon the competition and rush to help her, showing Byron that their friendship outweighs the draw of Paris. They support Yasmin until she's back on her feet, and together, they decide it's all for one or none at all. Byron, moved by their unity, reveals the true purpose of the test. It was to see if they could prioritize their friendship over the competition. He is delighted to announce that they've all passed with flying colors, and joyfully declares that all 4 will be traveling to Paris. The next part of the trilogy, Bratz in France Land, begins with the girls on a plane ride to France, where Chloe's worried she'll be attacked by the person poisoning the models. But the girls reassure her everything will most likely be fine. Also tagging along on the journey is Cameron and Dylan. because why not? Flights to Paris can't be that expensive. Oh man, they were so expensive. Once in Paris, the Bratz girls settle into their hotel room where Byron equips them with some high-tech spy gear. He hands out lipsticks that double as transmitters, makeup compacts that function as monitors, global positioning devices, homing devices, and pens designed to write messages invisible to the naked eye, visible only through special sunglasses. He also gives them special books, keeping their exact function a secret for now. Meanwhile, Berdine arrives in Paris with Royal and the Tweevils, ready to stir up some trouble. Over at Jean Paul's, the designer is busy with rehearsals for his upcoming show, working closely with his favorite and highest paid model, Nicole. Byron takes this opportunity to introduce the Bratz girls to Jean Paul and Nicole. Impressed by their poise and talent on the runway, Jean Paul finds a special connection with Jade, particularly over their shared love of cats and Jade's unique fashion sense. This bond leads him to offer Jade the spot as the lead model in his next show, an opportunity she eagerly accepts. Nicole expresses her reservations about hiring a novice, but Jean Paul dismisses her concerns confidently. To celebrate, Jean Paul throws a small party, where Nicole finds herself intrigued by Cameron, having known of his familiarity with the modeling world. The evening unfolds with new alliances forming and old tensions simmering just beneath the surface. Sasha spends the party trying to get the scoop from models Lily and Isabella about the recent attacks, but she's hitting dead ends. She also picks up on Chloe being a little down in the dumps, and discovers it's because Cameron has been sticking close to Nicole all night.
I know, you're famous, and I'm Cameron. I'm not famous. I mean...
The mood lifts when Roxy, the fifth member of the Bratz, Rock Angel, shows up and brings everyone back together. She introduces Sasha to her bandmate Cruz, and it's pretty obvious that Sasha is immediately bitten by the love bug. Meanwhile, Jean Paul confides in Jade about his creative block, mentioning he's so frustrated he's thinking about quitting to become a fry cook. Oh, buddy, let me tell you, that's not a good idea. Jade, quick to offer encouragement, convinces him not to give up and give designing another go. The night takes a mysterious twist when Casey walks into the bathroom and catches a masked figure tampering with a drink. Before she can react, she's attacked. Elsewhere, Jade visits Jean Paul early and accidentally overhears him warning Elamina to stay away from the models. As the party continues, Berdine spots Elamina and is visibly rattled. A flashback takes us back to Berdine's days with the International Fashion Police partnered with Elamina. They were on a mission to track down stolen clothing shipments, but Berdine got distracted by a pair of pink pumps, leading to Elamina getting captured by the thugs they were chasing. This memory weighs heavily on Berdine, bringing up regrets and old tensions from her past. Back at the party, Berdine tries to blend into the crowd, but Elamina spots her. The two have it out right there. Elamina is furious that Berdine's stupidity led her to get captured, while Berdine is upset because that very mistake got her booted from the fashion police. Meanwhile, Chloe can't take her eyes off Cameron and Nicole as they dance, and her bad mood takes another nosedive. Yasmin tries to cheer her up by pointing out that top model Esme has just shown up, but it's no use. Chloe just grows grumpier. Then Nicole and Cameron slip away for a midnight date at a cafe where they really hit it off. Cameron gives Nicole flowers. She cozies up on his lap, and they snap some selfies together. When Chloe sees one of their selfies, her heart sinks even further at the thought of Cameron dating someone else. At the same time, Jean Paul is showing Jade his latest design when he gets a call that shakes him. One of his models, Monique, has been poisoned. The news casts a shadow over the evening. Elsewhere, Sasha and Cruz go for a walk and the mood is romantic. Cruz calls her beautiful and hands her a rose, then asks her out on a date. Sasha agrees, but the pace of the budding romance overwhelms her, leading to a meltdown on par with Chloe's. Realizing she's double booked herself with a meeting with Byron at the same time as her date with Cruz, Sasha reluctantly cancels their plans. Cruz, feeling hurt by Sasha's cancellation, throws the roses he brought for her into the trash and tells Roxy that their relationship is over. Meanwhile, Jean Paul, shaken by the poisoning incident, decides to cancel his show, unwilling to put another model at risk. When Jade confronts him, he admits he's lost his inspiration for designing, and surprisingly asks her to finish his collection. Moved by his trust, Jade agrees to step in. Sasha, hoping to smooth things over, tries to reach out to Cruz, but he dodges her calls. To make matters worse, Casey and Kirsty show her a magazine article featuring Cruz with the famous singer Alonce. I wonder who that's supposed to be.
Well, if it isn't Sasha, alone again. Figures you couldn't keep the guy for more than like 2 days.
Heartbroken, Sasha breaks down and shares her distress with Chloe, Jade, and Yasmin. The mood among the Bratz is low. The investigation is stalled as the models refuse to leave their rooms, terrified of being poisoned. Needing a break, Yasmin goes for a walk to clear her head from her writer's block. Upon returning, she's shocked to find a masked figure in her room, tampering with bottles of water. After a tense chase and a scuffle on a rooftop that nearly cost Yasmin her life, The attacker escapes. Yasmin rushes back just in time to prevent Jade from drinking the tampered water. They discover a red hair inside the bottle and send it to Byron, who has it analyzed. Forensic results confirm the water was poisoned, and both the hair and fingerprints on the bottle are traced back to Elamina. With the evidence in hand, Elamina is arrested, bringing relief and a reason to celebrate as the girls solve the case and ensure the safety of everyone involved. The third and final episode in the trilogy, Bratz in Ragland, begins with Sasha, Jade, Chloe, and Yasmin watching the news and learning that not only was Elamina arrested for attacking the models, but Burdine has taken all the credit for her capture. Byron is furious. They weren't supposed to publicly reveal Elamina's arrest until they found out how to reverse the aging effect and confirm that she had no accomplices. Byron searches the room and finds a pink bug planted on Yasmin's laptop. Knowing Casey and Kirsty are often spying on them on Burdine's orders, the girls know they told Burdine about Elamina's arrest. The Bratz then corner Casey and Kirsty, eager for some clarity. Casey quickly spins a tale, saying they accidentally overheard Jean Paul talking about Elamina's arrest while at the party. The Bratz, curious about how they even got into the party without invites, press for details. Casey explains that she had to climb up a balcony and sneak into a bathroom just to hide from a security guard. While tucked away, she claims she saw someone in a mask tampering with a water bottle, all happening right before dessert was served at 10 p.m. Jade throws a wrench in the investigation when she reveals she heard Jean Paul and Elamina arguing at 10 p.m., which would make it impossible for Elamina to be the one who poisoned the water and attacked Casey. Meanwhile, Roxy reaches out to Sasha for a lunch date to discuss Cruz. Roxy urges Sasha to give Cruz a chance to explain himself, but Sasha is convinced he's moved on with Alonce and refuses to meet. At the same time, Byron grants Yasmin permission to speak with Elamina, who maintains her innocence. During their conversation, Yasmin observes that Elamina is left-handed, yet she recalls the masked attacker using their right hand for all actions. Despite this discrepancy, Byron is hesitant to dismiss the evidence pointing to Elamina, prompting the girls to launch their own investigation. As they dig deeper, Chloe runs into Cameron and asks for his help, but he's tied up with plans with Nicole. In a surprising turn of events, Jean Paul decides he wants Jade to replace Nicole as his top model, drawn by Jade's unique look.
Well, hope you have a great day.
Jade excitedly shares this development with the girls, although their investigative efforts haven't yielded much. The plot thickens when Nicole calls Jade, informing her that Jean Paul is spiraling into another creative meltdown and needs her help with his designs. Jade agrees to assist, hoping to get closer to the truth behind Jean Paul's erratic behavior and the ongoing mystery. Sasha, still furious from her fallout with Cruz, is giving him the cold shoulder despite his numerous attempts to reach out. Instead, she channels her frustration into a punching bag that she's customized with a photo of Cruz's face. That's gotta be healthy, right? Meanwhile, Yasmin and Dylan share a crucial finding from her investigation with the girls. It appears that whoever is named Jean Paul's top model becomes the next target of attacks. Alarmed by this pattern and knowing that Jade is Jean Paul's new top model, the group rushes to Jean Paul's mansion to protect her. There, Jade and Nicole chat as they wait for Jean Paul. Nicole shares a chilling observation. Every top model, starting from Bridget, has been attacked. Bridget was followed by Simone, then Monique, each falling victim after reaching the top spot. Nicole suggests that there seems to be a curse on the top model position. As the conversation unfolds, Jade begins to feel ill and decides to leave, but as she stands, she collapses, her body aging rapidly. In her weakened state, Jade realizes too late that Nicole was the actual perpetrator behind the attacks. Nicole confesses to poisoning Jade's water and framing Elamina to avoid paying agent commissions, revealing her deep-seated jealousy and ruthlessness. After locking Jade in Jean Paul's attic, Nicole coldly leaves her to suffer alone, all while Jean Paul spirals into another panic when he realizes Jade hasn't shown up to headline his show. As Nicole uses this opportunity to stir more chaos, Sasha and Yasmin work to distract Jean Paul, allowing Chloe to use her transmitter to search for Jade. She discovers Jade in the attic, but Nicole catches her. In a cruel twist, Nicole forces poisoned water into Chloe's mouth, taunting her by saying that once Chloe's out of the picture, she will have Cameron all to herself. Nicole deceives Jean Paul, claiming Jade is suffering from food poisoning due to bad American food, and uses his distraction with the show to sneak Chloe and Jade out. Before being moved, Chloe manages to leave behind a secret message with the invisible ink pens Byron provided, revealing Nicole's guilt and her dire plans to dispose of them from a plane. However, Nicole's escape plan hits a snag when she finds out her car is out of fuel. In desperation, she releases the handbrake and pushes the car down a hill with Chloe and Jade still inside.
Looks like you're running out of options.
We'll see who's running out of options.
Yasmin heroically jumps into the moving car, only to find the brakes have been sabotaged. In a last-ditch effort, she grabs Chloe and Jade and leaps from the car, just as it crashes over a cliffside. Activating her rocket boots, Yasmin flies them to safety. In the woods, Sasha confronts Nicole. The confrontation escalates into a physical fight, and just as Nicole gains the upper hand, Chloe, Jade, and Yasmin arrive to intervene. Nicole is finally arrested, and the antidote is administered to the poison models. Cruz clears up the misunderstandings with Sasha, explaining that his connection with Alonce was purely professional, related to a potential album collaboration. The girls reconcile, and decide to cap off their dramatic adventure with a celebratory sleepover. The first episode of Season 2, Extremely Made Over, starts with Prudence Maxwell, another niece of Berdine, arriving at the magazine building to interview for the office assistant position at Bratz magazine. As she steps into the office, it's clear everyone is swamped. Sasha is rummaging around for a CD she needs to review. Jade is stuck choosing an outfit for her lunch date. Yasmin is on a hunt for a phone number for a new vegan spot, and the office phone just keeps ringing. Amidst the chaos, Prudence steps in like a superhero. She catches a cascade of index cards, scoops up some scattered newspaper scraps, spots Sasha's elusive CD, tidies up the shoe display, juggles the ringing phones, helps Jade pick out her outfit, and even snags the sticky note Yasmin's been searching for. Seeing her handle it all, the girls are super impressed, and instantly offer her the office assistant job. Over at the rival magazine, Your Thing, interns Casey and Kirsty are digging through Berdine's mail, finding a mix of waxing bills, a mysterious package from Tahiti, and a romantic blast from the past, a love letter from an old boyfriend. When Berdine shows up, they spill the beans about the Bratz' new assistant. Back at Bratz, the office buzzes with excitement as the girls get some awesome news. They've landed an exclusive interview with Evan Moles, who's about to leave his band, Bases Loaded. They swear Prudence to secrecy before letting her in on the scoop and give her a heads up about Berdine's sneaky ways. With everything set, they decide to hit the smoothie bar to celebrate their big win. At the bar, they spot True, who they name the hunk of the day. The girls decide to give Prudence a little nudge to chat with True, who's reading about archaeology, and as she goes over to chat, she ends up tangling her words. Just as she's trying to recover, Casey and Kirsty barge in and awkwardly ask True to judge who's hotter, which promptly makes him bolt from the bar. Prudence is ready to call it a day and head back to work, but the girls aren't giving up. They're determined to boost her flirting game.
Which one of us is new in town? And needs to meet people?
Me? Oh, no, I couldn't. I mean, I'm terrible at talking to guys.
They bring out the office's male mannequin, affectionately known as Practice Pete, and challenge Prudence to try her flirting skills on him. It goes wrong when she bumps into Pete, sending him crashing into a wall and his head rolling off. Yikes, that's rough. Though mortified, Prudence is reassured by the girls, who promise her that she's gonna get better, because that's what friends are for. They help each other out. Meanwhile, Sasha gets a call from Evan's agent, setting up an interview at the Bratz magazine office. Worried about Berdine, Casey, and Kirsty possibly snatching their scoop, the girls make Prudence swear to keep the interview under wraps. Back at Your Thing, Berdine drops a bombshell about her plans to retire and move to Tahiti. Amid these developments, Evan performs his first solo single, Gotta Be You, for the Bratz, and Prudence. Feeling inspired, they suggest a fresh look for him, which he genuinely appreciates. After the mini concert, the group heads back to the smoothie bar, where they unexpectedly spot True again. With a boost of confidence, Prudence finally manages to strike up a conversation with True. Meanwhile, Sasha wraps up her latest piece called Bases Loaded, and Evan is out, chronicling Evan Moles' departure from his band. As the girls head out to catch Evan's secret recording session, Prudence opts to stay back at the office to handle a few tasks. Post-recording session, Yasmin and Sasha return to the office, eager to update the magazine article with some of Evan's new lyrics. But as they approach, they spot Prudence sneaking around outside. Curious and assuming she's on a clandestine date with True, they follow her into an alley. To their shock, they see her meeting with Berdine, not True. Even more startling, Prudence hands over a disc containing the Evan Moles article to Berdine. Yasmin and Sasha uncover the painful truth. Prudence has been secretly working as a mole for Berdine. In exchange for the stolen interview, Berdine promises to appoint Prudence as the new editor of Your Thing once she retires. The betrayal stings, and the next day, Yasmin and Sasha share the upsetting news with Jade and Chloe. When Prudence shows up for work as if nothing happened, the girls can't hold back. They confront her about her betrayal, dealing with the revelation and its implications for their friendship and the magazine. Prudence tries to explain herself, but the Bratz are too hurt to listen, and they decide to fire her. As she leaves, still reeling from the confrontation, Casey and Kirsty swagger into the Bratz magazine office, flaunting the latest issue of Your Thing. But when Sasha takes a look at the magazine and reads the interview with Evan, she's baffled. It's a bizarre story claiming Evan has an alien baby and rides glittery fruit bats. The Bratz quickly realize that something doesn't add up. They rush outside just in time to see Prudence about to depart in a limousine. At that moment, Berdine shows up furious and starts berating Prudence for tricking her.
There,
There you are, you traitor! Wait till I tell your mother about this!
Amidst the chaos, it's revealed to the Bratz that Prudence is actually Berdine's niece. Prudence fires back, telling Berdine that the backstabbing and deceit were all she ever knew from her, unlike the Bratz who genuinely believed in her. Suddenly, Evan Moles' attorney arrives with a bombshell. A $1.3 million lawsuit against Berdine and Your Thing magazine for publishing the false interview. Realizing that the lawsuit could devour her retirement savings, a flustered Berdine decides to cancel her retirement plans and heads back to manage the fallout. Seeing the mess unfold and realizing Prudence's loyalty, the Bratz offer her job back. However, Prudence gently declines, revealing that she's already accepted a new position as Evan's wardrobe consultant, grateful for the lessons she's learned and ready to start a new chapter. The final episode of the series, Much Ado About Practically Nothing, starts with a mysterious clip-on bow tie being placed on Jade's desk in the Bratz magazine office. The girls don't recognize it, start to wonder how it could have even gotten there, since no one they know wears clip-on ties, especially a clip-on tie that is as much of a fashion no-no as this one. I mean, it's powdered blue with polka dots. Hideous! The girls try to think of anyone they know who could wear something so clueless, and remember old times of boys being stupid in public around them. Like when Ethan tried to impress a girl with rehearsed pickup lines, or when Dylan dressed up as a girl so he could understand what it's like to be a woman. The girls realize that the list of clueless guys they know is actually huge, but that doesn't help them narrow down whose tie this could be. Jade then remembers that when she came into the office, the door was locked. So how could anyone get in the office to place the mysterious bow tie on her desk? While she sits and thinks, something catches her eye. A note has suddenly appeared on her desk too. A note which wasn't there when the girls entered the room. They quickly grab the paper to read what it says. It reads, "Tonight, the game is on. You are going down." The girls are terrified by the threatening note, completely confused about how it got into the office. They wonder, is it ghosts? Aliens? Or maybe just someone playing a sick joke? The girls remember, once upon a time, they could go invisible thanks to a potion that they got their hands on. So if they could go invisible, maybe someone else in the office is with them. Sasha, Chloe, and Yasmin ask Jade who could hold a grudge against her. But Jade tells her friends that that isn't gonna help. There are many people who don't like her. It's not gonna narrow it down. They name a few villains like the Tweevils and Berdine Maxwell, but Yasmin says it can't be them, and that something else is ringing a bell. All she needs is another clue because it's on the tip of her tongue. But as soon as she asks for another clue, the door locks behind them and the power goes out in the office. The girls are now petrified of what's doing this to them. And the only way they can calm themselves down is remembering some of the goofy times that they've shared together, like the Billy Goat attacking the Tweevils.
Everyone welcome Queen Yasmin!
The girls, now calm, demand the mystery coward to show themselves. And in that moment, the power switches back on. The door unlocks and an electrician appears. He tells the girls he's sorry for the outage. He accidentally turned the power off, and the reason why their door was locked was because he laid his ladder against it while trying to get into the vent. They realize that their cat, Micah, is the reason for their mystery bow tie, as he likes to bring the girls random gifts he finds on his journey, and thanks to a tuxedo shop downstairs, they were gifted the mysterious bow tie. As for the note, the girls realize that it's just a funny letter and invitation from the chess club to come play with them, which they won't because it's uncool. With their worries finally put to bed, the girls can get back to doing what they do best, being cool and writing some of the best articles in the world. This is, unfortunately, where our show stops, and we have to say goodbye to the Bratz girls. I hope you've all enjoyed running through the Bratz series as much as I have. And of course, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know down below what show you'd like to see next. We'll see you all next time.